along the way?
There's been crazy times. Like, I'm talking about crazy. Crazy. I remember when the management at Fifth Element had to take out his gun and put it on the table and say, "You're going to walk through this gate and you're never going to come back because I asked you not to beat her and you beat her again. You disrespect me and you disrespect the family and we're going to ask her to leave."
Watch out, boom shot. You tell him so there's a make the way to Merman now. So this one here short shot. You can't stop. Boom shot.
Boom shots.
You mentioned you have, your ex, so I know often you have been one of my first actual real in-depth interviews. I still always remember you passing through the studio, and I've congratulated you myself on being married, and you talk about, and you've always been a private person.
True.
And
right.
No one ever knows actually. I don't know if anyone ever, we never knew your past, or we never really knew who it was, because you kept that always as your personal life. There's a lot of celebs out there who embrace that and embrace their family within. And today we sit here and you talk about ex, so I assume that is a separation and you seem calm about it, but it doesn't mean that there hasn't been hard times along the way.
There's been crazy times. Like, I'm talking about crazy. I remember when the management at Fifth Element had to take out his gun and put it on the table and say, "You're going to walk through this gate and you're never going to come back because I asked you not to beat her and you beat her again. You disrespect me and you disrespect the family and we're going to ask her to leave."
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. Well, live serious.
Yeah. That's a big...
Yeah, and you know what? At that time, I still didn't hate him.
You didn't hate him?
No. I still don't hate him today, actually.
So, I assume that's just part of a lot of...
Listen, it's so deep, it's crazy. And a lot of people in Augustone, or my family, my relatives, could tell you a whole history of that being brought to Jamaica. And actually, I remember wanting to go back to Florida. And at that time, I had a green card. And he took it, paid somebody $50,000 to keep my green card so I couldn't go back.
Wow.
But you know what? At the end of the day, I think if that was not done,
you wouldn't be.
Yeah. So everything, if you really look at it, it has its place in time. That kind of, especially if you're like a stubborn person who doesn't listen or pay attention to that voice, that sound that says don't move or move. And you have to be forced in that direction and you don't realize you're being forced. And I think that some force has forced me into the direction that I am now. So I'm grateful for it all.
And being a strong woman doesn't sometimes, I'm sure that in itself can be a hindrance if you don't open your mind.
Exactly. I remember when I was going to Jamaica and I said, should I go? Should I not go? And I had, this is just the weirdest thing, and it may even just kind of spook you out, but I had the Bible, but the soft leaf.
Yeah.
And the Bible rolled open on the bed. And I stood there looking at the Bible like this for a long time. Like, the Bible opened on the bed. And I read it, and it said, "Have no lot nor part in them," right? And this is when I was questioning myself if I should leave the group or not. And it was Ephesians 5.
Wow.
And when I read that, I started packing that fast.
Really?
Yes, I packed so fast because I was so shocked because the Bible opened. I asked the question and the Bible opened on the bed.
So you didn't need no more.
I didn't convince anyone to. But when I got there, I was still surprised by the fact that my ex took that as an opportunity to be like, well, you're in Jamaica now, so I'm just going to do everything. I was not allowed to use the phone. I was not allowed to go to the store. I couldn't do anything.
Wow.
It was very abusive for a long time until I made up my mind to get out and to fight back. And the last time that I fought back, it was really bad. I had bruises and scratches, my nail tore
You can
off.
physically fight.
Physically fight, like I fought back, and that was it.
And you, I mean, and this is, and you're somebody who is able to leave, you know, the country, or to leave and to be an and be a recognized woman in the world. So what happens to women who don't have anywhere to go, or to leave, or let's say to leave Augusttown, not even to go to another?
Listen, you always, the world is so huge, and let me tell you this, you always can leave. What stops you from leaving is fear of living without someone, being lonely, not knowing if the person is going to come after you. That's all fear. That's three different things. That's fear, total fear. But I believe, you know how they say life is like a dream? You can do a lot of things in your dream. You can fly, you can run really fast, you can swim if you can't swim.
Yeah.
Well, life is like a dream. Get up and do it. And that's how I live my life every day. I am never afraid of doing anything, because I think when that time has come, it has come, and there's nothing you can do about it. And you know what? When that time comes and you have to leave out of flesh, remember, you cannot physically touch anything in that moment. Nobody really knows what happens. In my mind, you live as a spirit, like light in a light bulb, electricity in a light bulb, right? And in this light bulb, my flesh, right, is my spirit. But you can't physically touch anything. You can't do anything. And I'm not Etana at that time. So while I'm going to make the best of it. And I'm not going to allow anyone at any time to stop me or to take that right from me to live and be happy. I will never allow it.
Wow.
No, even if I have to sleep on the side of the road on a cardboard, I will do it just to be happy.
So tell me, so I feel like you have all the answers. Can you still hang out with people when you're a spirit?
Of course. I feel like my grandmother is always with me.
So you are, even though we can't touch each other, because at the we are intangible, we're tangible forms, right?
Yeah.
So we can touch each other, and you know,
not physically, but spiritually. Yes.
So when you're a spirit, you can connect,
communicate somehow. Yes, and you can feel it.
Phew. I hope I can hang out with. I'm just worried about hanging out with my dogs and cats and stuff like that if I'm not around anymore.
You know what? They would probably be the first to see you.
That's true, because they're purer.
They're probably the first to see you. Like I remember my cousin would always come home late at night, and he would always go to the window and come back around to the front door. And after he passed, like 3 days later, the dogs left from the gates, ran to the side of the window. They took the path that he would normally take, and they were at the front of the door jumping like that.
Oh, so he's coming back.
He came back.
Wow.
And my grandmother said, Oji, you don't live here no more. You have to go and find a new home. And when she said that, I just, woo!
Oh my God.
Yes.
Woo. And was the reason for that just to release him or release the family?
Well, I guess to release herself and to release him, to let him know that he needs to fly on. Yeah. Oh, you just
Oh wow. Well, I'm so glad we got a chance to break this down, because a lot of people that know Etana, and I know you go by the strong one, and you never, but people don't always. I don't know if anyone can ever know their favorite artist, and I definitely know in all the times that I've spoken to you. I mean, I've never, the stuff you've just told me, I didn't know.
I know, right?
So you can't assume, right?
I didn't talk about it a lot because I think it was a part of my growing spirit, a part of my trying times to teach me the lessons that I needed to learn to be on my journey to be where I am today. And a lot of times people can't relate to my lessons learned. And so I kind of hold it back because sometimes I may be viewed as, oh my God, you're crazy. Only because they don't understand. So I try to, not give it.
But it's also so important for people to know that you have had these personal experiences that you can speak about them. Because a lot of times it's hard for people to be in these situations. Let's take domestic violence, for example. People who are in that situation, it's already hard enough for them to hear someone saying, oh, you don't need to take that, let alone if the person they're listening to hasn't gone through it themselves. So it's important for people to hear this message from an individual who has already experienced that themselves.
True, I agree. But one thing I would always want them to remember and to even recite to themselves is that no one has the right to take away your happiness. No one.